What's the first thing you do when your paycheck hits your bank account? If you're like most people, you probably start spending without a plan. But here's the thing, the first 30 minutes after getting paid can either set you up for financial success or leave you scrambling by the end of the month. And so in this video, I'm going to uncover 7 things you need to do as soon as you get paid so that you can take control of your money, reduce financial stress, and start building long-term wealth without feeling restricted. If you're new here, hi, I'm Nischa. I'm a qualified accountant and a former investment banker. And on this channel, we talk about all things personal finance and self-development. Let's get into it. Step number 1, calculate your baseline. This is where so many of us stumble. We fall prey to what researchers call the illusion of wealth. This psychological phenomenon, it tricks us into feeling richer than we actually are when we think about our money in lump sums like a salary deposit rather than also considering our ongoing expenses. So for instance, if your paycheck that comes in is 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000, whatever it is, it might feel like a fortune when it lands into your account, but it very quickly dwindles when you break it down into rent, bills, groceries, savings. So without tracking these expenses, it's easy to overestimate what we can afford, therefore leading to financial stress before the next payday even rolls around. So to combat this, we first need to understand your core baseline, which is just how much you spend on your essential living expenses. Most people don't have a clue what that number is. Strip away all the luxuries, all the fun spending, all the little pleasures. Just calculate your core fundamental expenses. The aim is to keep that number below 60% of your take-home pay. By putting a cap on it, it means you're essentially freeing up the remaining 40% to shape your life. Think of it this way. The fundamental expenses keep your day-to-day running. The remaining 40%, you first want to allocate towards your financial priorities. Then you want to use it to design a life that you truly love. That's what we're going to be talking about throughout the rest of the steps. So step number 1, calculate your fundamental expenses. If you want to implement this system, I've created an intentional spending tracker. It's completely free. You can go to nischa.me/IST or click the link in the description. It'll calculate how much of your take-home pay you're spending on your fundamental expenses. And it also includes a workshop that I'm going to be hosting where I'll walk you through exactly how to optimize those finances to stay within the recommended percentages. Both are completely free. Link is in the description. Step number 2, build a quick solution fund. Imagine waking up tomorrow to an unexpected expense. Your car breaking down, a medical bill lands in your inbox, or your job suddenly feels a lot less secure. How would you handle it? The reality is 39% of people in the UK have £1,000 or less in savings, and nearly 50% of Americans have less than $1,000. That means nearly half of us are just one financial surprise away from stress, debt, or a difficult choice. We want to put ourselves outside of that group. So take the fundamental expense number that you just calculated. This should be the first thing that your paycheck protects. Before chasing high returns, before going into ambitious investments, build this fund as your first line of defense. Why? Because personal finance isn't just about optimizing numbers, it's about reducing financial anxiety and increasing your sense of control. So that buffer isn't just money, it's peace of mind. Save up that exact number and keep it into a high interest, easy access savings account. You want your quick solution fund to be working for you, growing with interest, but also instantly available when life throws a curveball. Step 3, pay down high interest rate debt. High interest debt drains your money faster than any savings account can grow it. Anything above 8% interest is costing you more than you're earning elsewhere. So this step needs to be your full focus before moving on. When it comes to paying off high interest rate debt, the avalanche method is the way to go. The snowball method of paying off smaller debts first can provide quick wins, but the avalanche approach targets your highest interest rate debts first. The snowball method is all about paying off your debt in order from smallest loan size to largest, and it provides you quick wins, whereas the avalanche approach targets your high interest rate debts first. This strategy, the avalanche method strategy, it might feel less rewarding initially, but it is the financially optimal route, saving you more money in the long run. So rank your high interest rate debt from highest to lowest. Anything above 8%, pay it off in that order. Something to remember, if you have savings beyond that 1 month solution fund that we spoke about, and your savings are earning less than what your high interest rate debt is costing you, which is very likely, it makes sense to use some of those savings to clear your debt faster. This might feel counterintuitive, but you're reducing the overall interest you'll pay over time and keeping more of your own money in your pocket. Step 4, max out employer benefits. There's 2 tax advantage accounts you need to be using. I'll come on to the second one later, but for now, the first one to focus on is the employer retirement match account. So if your employer offers a retirement match, that means they're literally giving you free money to invest for your future. How it works is for every contribution you make up to a certain percentage, they match it. So if your employer offers a 5% match and you contribute 5% of your salary, they'll double it by adding another 5%. That's a 100% return on your money immediately. No other investment offers that kind of guaranteed return. The second major benefit is that your contributions reduce your taxable income. Since you're putting money into your retirement account before taxes are taken out, you pay less tax now while still building long-term wealth. This means, again, more of your paycheck stays in your pocket today whilst also growing tax-free for the future. So check with your HR team to see, firstly, how much you're contributing right now. Secondly, if you're maxing out your employer match. And third, what funds your employer is investing in for you. Whilst you don't have full control, most employer plans let you choose between different type of risk portfolios depending on your goal. And overall, yes, the fees for investing through your employer workplace retirement account may be slightly higher compared to investing on your own, but the free money from your employer and also the tax savings more than make up for it. Step number 5, build an emergency fund. Now it's time to level up, building a full emergency fund. The goal, 3 to 6 months worth of your fundamental living expenses, enough to cover a job loss, unexpected bills, or anything else that life throws at you without the stress and without thinking, how am I going to pay for the next couple of months' bills? I know that 3 to 6 months number sounds like a lot, but here's the thing. When you strip out your non-essential spending, your core expenses are actually lower than you think. So again, how much should you save? Take the fundamental number you calculated in step 1, multiply it by 3 for a basic emergency fund. That's enough for a short-term stability. And multiply it by 6 if you want a stronger financial cushion. If you're in an unstable job, freelancing, or a high-risk industry, aim for 6 to 9 months. And also, if you're planning a big life or a career change, 6 to 9 months as well. That's exactly what I did before quitting my banking job to go full-time to do my own thing. It gave me the freedom to make the leap without financial stress, without worrying about how I'm going to pay for things. Step number 6, invest. Now it's time to start building long-term wealth. The earlier you start investing, the more you benefit from compounding growth, which is how money grows exponentially over time. Here, you want to firstly look for a tax advantage account specific to your country that encourages long-term investing, ideally. In the UK, that's the stocks and shares ISA to grow your investments tax-free. In the US, the most common one is a Roth IRA. It's a great option for tax-free retirement savings. In terms of what to invest in, it doesn't have to be complicated. Index funds, ETFs are the way to go. They spread your risks across multiple companies, making them a great option for anyone and everyone. I've covered investing in much more depth in other videos. If you want to see why your net worth explodes after a certain point and how investing plays a huge role in that, check out this video next. The key is to start early, stay consistent. The longer your money is invested, the harder it works for you. Step 7, fund spending. Now, here's the thing. If you're on steps 2 or 3, I highly recommend holding off on the fund spending. Know that this move is temporary, but just dial down your fund spending as much as possible. Normally, I recommend 20 to 30% of your take-home pay allocated towards your fund spending because it gives you a balance of living in the moment whilst also planning and saving for the future. But if you're on steps 2 or 3, you want to really hone in on getting that sorted first, because once you do, you'll be able to enjoy your money a lot more. So when I'm talking about fund spending here, once you moved on to steps 4 and 5, you want to allocate at least 20% towards your fund spending. At this point, you've handled the big risks. You've got your financial priorities in check. You can find a better balance now between enjoying today and planning for the future. And the reason why I say you should allocate a percentage of your take-home pay to fund spending is because it does 2 things. Firstly, it prevents overspending by setting a defined limit. And the second thing is it allows you to enjoy that spending without that nagging guilt that often accompanies spending, because you've allocated for it, knowing that you're also meeting the targets and your other life priorities and your other goals. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't just to accumulate money, it's to use money as a tool to build a life that you actually enjoy. So those are the 7 steps you want to take on Payday. If you've made it this far, I'd love it for you to hit the subscribe button. Over 70% of people who watch my content aren't subscribed. So if you're enjoying these videos, It would really mean the world to me. Plus, it massively helps me keep creating free, high-value content for you. Thanks so much for watching.